In this video, we will talk about the laboratory diagnosis of Corynebacterium diphtheria. Corynebacterium diphtheria is gram-positive, means purple in color, and they are bacilli. They are non-capsulated, they are non-sporing, and they are non-motile. That's why I am showing it in a box. They are aerobic. It means they need oxygen to grow. They cannot live without oxygen. And they are fastidious bacteria. They need special nutrients to grow. Corynebacterium diphtheria is catalase negative and oxidase negative. It means it won't produce catalase and oxidase enzymes. As we know, C. diphtheria causes some specific symptoms. That's why the diagnosis of diphtheria is mainly based on clinical signs and symptoms plus the laboratory diagnosis. Laboratory diagnosis of diphtheria is useful for confirmation of the clinical diagnosis. I have written laboratory, but it is clinical diagnosis. Second, initiating control measures, and third, for the epidemiological purpose. Laboratory diagnosis of C. diphtheria is divided in two. First is isolation of bacilli, and second is toxin demonstration. DT diphtheria toxin. Let's talk about the first, isolation of bacilli. Isolation of bacilli mainly involved four methods. First is specimen collection, second direct smear microscopy, third culture media, and fourth is biochemical test for the identification. Let's talk about the very first method, specimen collection. The very common specimen is throat swab collection containing the fibrous exudate. What is exudate? Exudate is the fluid that leaks out of blood vessels into nearby tissue, and here we are taking fibrous exudate. What we are taking? We are taking fibrous exudate. That's why it will also contain fibrinogen plus fibrin containing tissue. So the useful specimen collection are throat swab, second is pseudomembrane, and the third is nose skin or the skin specimen if infected in cases of cutaneous diphtheria. Now let's move on to the second method. Second method is direct smear microscopy. Direct smear microscopy we are using two method. First is gram stain commonly used, and second is Albert stain. Let's talk about the gram staining. As we know that Corynebacterium diphtheria is irregularly stained. So they are irregularly stained plus they are club shaped gram positive bacilli, so purple in color. They are 3 to 6 micrometer in length, and they are typically arranged in Chinese letter or cuneiform arrangement, means V or L shaped, and it is difficult to differentiate them from other commensal of Corynebacterium, and it will look something like this, purple colored bacilli. Now in Albert stain, it is more specific because we can differentiate Corynebacterium diphtheria from other commensal of Corynebacterium, and in Albert stain it will look like green bacilli plus bluish black metachromatic granules. And we know that metachromatic granules are present at the end of their poles. Now it will look like green bacilli with bluish purple metachromatic granule. Let's talk about third method, culture media. As we know that C. diphtheria is fastidious and it is facultative and aerobe. So we are using enriched media and selective media. Enriched media is simply basal media plus additional nutrients like blood, serum, egg, and it will promote the growth of pathogen. And in selective media, it is simply solid media plus inhibitory substance, and it will inhibit the normal flora to grow and allow pathogen to grow. And here in enriched media we are using blood agar and Loeffler serum slope, and we have to incubate the C. diphtheria at 37 degrees Celsius aerobically. and then we will get the result diagnosis. Let's talk about the blood agar first. In blood agar we will see the small colonies, and the colonies will be circular, white, and may be hemolytic and may not be hemolytic. Mites biotype show hemolysis sometime. Imagine that this is blood agar and we will have the white colored colonies, small, circular. Okay. Now second is Loeffler's serum slope, and it is composed of Loeffler's serum slope is composed of nutrient broth and horse sheep serum plus the glucose, and it will look something like this, the yellow colored. Okay, and the colonies of diphtheria is small, circular, glistening, and white. It grow rapidly, like 6 to 8 hours. Now let's have look on advantages and disadvantages of this. The advantage is that the growth is detected earlier, as we know result give in 6 to 8 hours. And the second is it is best medium for metachromatic granule production. Now let's have look on the disadvantages. As it is enriched medium, it doesn't inhibit any other, but if it is incubated beyond 6 to 8 hours, it support the growth of throat commensal. Now let's have look on the selective medium. This selective medium is best for isolation of C. diphtheria, Corynebacterium diphtheria. Why? Because the normal flora is inhibited. Normal flora will be inhibited here. We are mainly using two selective media, PTA and Tinsdale medium. PTA means potassium tellurite agar. Potassium tellurite agar. It is lysed blood agar, lysed horse blood agar plus potassium tellurite as inhibitory agent 0.04%. I'm sorry for the background. Now this Corynebacterium diphtheria will reduce the tellurite into the metallic tellurium, and this metallic tellurium will give black colored colonies. Now imagine that this is the potassium tellurite agar, then we will have the black colored colonies of Corynebacterium diphtheria. Now let's have look on the advantages and disadvantages of the Tinsdale medium, potassium tellurite agar. The advantage is that throat commensal are inhibited here, which doesn't inhibited in enriched media, and the main disadvantage it takes 48 hours. Now the Tinsdale medium is modified potassium tellurite agar plus cysteine. Here we will have black colonies surrounded by brown halo. This brown halo is due to breakdown of cysteine by the cysteinase enzyme. Now let's talk about the fourth method, which is biochemical test for the identification. It mainly gives 5 biochemical tests. The first is his serum sugar media. It is enriched sugar media, his serum sugar media. Second is pyrazinamidase test. Third is urease test. And the fourth and fifth is catalase and oxidase test. As we know that his serum sugar media is enriched sugar media, diphtheria bacilli will ferment glucose and maltose and also starch, but starch by only Graves biotype with the production of acid but not gas. Second test, pyrazinamidase test, is positive by most of the corynebacteria because of the presence of pyrazinamidase enzyme. But the pathogenic Corynebacterium diphtheria does not contain this pyrazinamidase enzyme, does not contain. That's why it gives negative pyrazinamidase test. The third is urease test. See, diphtheria does not hydrolyze the urea. what? It does not hydrolyze the urea, so it will give negative urease taste. But other corynebacterium like C. ulcerans and C. pseudotuberculosis will give positive urease taste. Corynebacterium diphtheria give negative catalase and oxidative taste. Now let's talk about toxin demonstration. As pathogenesis is due to diphtheria toxin, isolation of bacilli does not complete the diagnosis, and we complete this toxin demonstration as in vivo and in vitro. In vivo means in living organism and in vitro means outside the living organism. In vivo toxin demonstration is completed by inoculation of culture broth into guinea pig, and this is rarely used now, so they are obsolete. Now let's talk about the in vitro test. The main is Alex gel precipitation test. Imagine that this is the rectangular strip of filter paper soaked in diphtheria. So it is antitoxin soaked filter paper is placed on the surface of a 20% horse serum agar plate before the medium solidifies. So on the surface of 20% horse serum agar plate before the medium solidifies. When the agar solidifies, the test strain is streaked at right angle to the filter paper slip. The plate is incubated at 37 degrees Celsius for 48 hours, and if the strain is toxigenic, the toxin diffuse in the agar meet the antitoxin and produce the arrow-shaped precipitation band. Non-toxigenic strain will not produce any precipitation line. Remember, we incubated at 37 degrees Celsius for 48 hours. Other in vitro tests include detection of TOX gene by the PCR. Second test is detection of diphtheria toxin by ELISA or immunochromatographic test, ICT immunochromatographic test. And the third test is cytotoxicity produced on cell lines, but the main in vitro test is Alex gel precipitation test. Other are detection of toxin by PCR, detection of diphtheria by ELISA or ICT, and cytotoxicity produced on cell lines. Now let's talk about the typing of C. diphtheria. It is also useful. The first is biotyping, and C. diphtheria have 4 biotypes, and it is gravis, intermedius, mitis, and belfanti. Now the serotyping of C. diphtheria, serotyping, bacteriophage typing, bacteriocene typing, and molecular typing, they are also useful. Now let's talk about the treatment. Treatment should be started immediately, and we are giving two treatment. First is ADS and second is antibiotic. This antidiphtheritic serum or antitoxin is passive immunization with antidiphtheric horse serum, and it is treatment of choice as it neutralizes the toxin. If patient is in mild or early phase, then we give 20,000 to 40,000 unit. If it is moderate or severe case, then 40,000 to 60,000 unit, and if it is severe or late case, then we will give 80,000 to 1 lakh unit. Now the antibiotic drug of choice is penicillin or erythromycin. Antibiotic play minor role. Why? Because antibiotic will kill the bacteria, and the mainly problem arises because of the diphtheria toxin, so no use once the toxin is secreted. So if we give this antibiotic earlier, when before the toxin release, then it is useful. And this is also useful because it decreases the further release of toxin by decreasing the Corynebacterium diphtheria, and cutaneous diphtheria is caused by the bacteria only. That's why the antibiotic is useful, and it is also used for the carriers.